All right, so it's 8 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and get started. Hello and welcome to the Envision National Security Information Session. You're going to find this webinar most helpful if you've already enrolled your student in the National Security Program for the summer. If you have not yet enrolled in the program, please feel free to follow along, and our team is available to help answer any questions about the enrollment process. We're also going to have some contact information at the end that you can call to start that enrollment process as well. So first and foremost, my name is Greg Johnson. I am the program manager. Joining me today is Jessica Smythe. She's our program coordinator. She helps to organize and plan the program along with myself, as well as Sarah, who is in the chat to answer questions along with Jessica. So today we're going to go over a lot of the different logistics of the program, as well as talk about our program site. We're happy to be located at the University of Maryland this year, and I'm looking forward to sharing lots of information with you, as well as answering your questions. So some housekeeping items before we get started. This webinar is equipped with a dashboard that you see to the right of your screen. If you have any questions during the webinar, please type and submit them there in the question box. We will answer as many questions as we can throughout the webinar, but then at the end, we're going to devote plenty of time to answer any last minute questions, and we'll try and get to as many of them as we possibly can. Like I said, we do have someone monitoring the dashboard throughout the webinar so they can answer any pertinent questions as they come up. So today we're going to cover a lot of topics that are most commonly asked about the National Security Program. Again, if you have topics other than these that you would like to hear about, type those questions in the question box and we'll be sure to follow up with you. We're going to focus our time on the following topics. First and foremost, accessing your online information and completing all the mandatory forms that are located there, preparing for your program. We're going to talk about meals and housing arrangements. We're going to talk about the program in depth, as well as safety and security, and then finally, any important reminders and final contact information as well. So let's talk about how you access your online information. When you go to your student portal, which is at myenvisionexperience.com, you're going to see at the top of on the top right-hand corner of the home page, you're going to see a login button. Once you click that login button, a dialog box will appear, and that's going to give you a couple different options. If you've already enrolled your student and received an ID number in your confirmation email from Envision, click Enrolled Student. If you have not yet enrolled, you may click one of the Enroll buttons that will begin that process. Once you click Enrolled Student, you're going to be sent to a page with text boxes to input your login criteria. You're going to use that email that you used to start the enrollment process, as well as the password that you created. If for some reason you've forgotten that password, click the Forgot Password button, and you can start that recovery process. Once you have logged in, you're then going to be taken to your specific account page, which is going to include the program and the session for which you've enrolled. You can navigate to your enrollment forms and information by clicking on, excuse me, by clicking on the enrollment forms and info, and that's going to bring up all of the different forms, all the different pieces of information that we need to have in order for your scholar to attend the National Security Program. Please note that many of these forms have deadlines, and we're going to talk about one specific area in particular where you will, where we need to have that information in by a certain point, and that's for our secured site visits. We're going to get a lot of questions about those whenever we talk about the program in depth. I'm going to go through it step by step, make sure everybody is aware of that deadline. But there are also other deadlines as far as student information, travel, medical authorization. So please pay close attention to those required forms and those deadlines. So under the required forms category, you're going to see medical authorization and information. It's required for your attendance in the program for you to submit that medical authorization and information form. You can fill this digitally. You can fill this out digitally and then sign the form. And please make sure that you're including any medical medications or any medical concerns for your scholar. Please use the student information form to tell us about any allergies or any dietary or other restrictions that your student may have, as well as students' preferred first name and pronoun. The mandatory travel form is required as well, and this is a form that just tells us how your student is getting to and from the program. So there are options for a couple different ways to arrive at the program and depart the program. One is airport arrival or airport departure, and one is on-site drop-off or on-site pickup. Please note that this form is not locked to one submission. So after you filled out the form, you can always come back and make updates. So let's say that you originally thought that your scholar was going to arrive via the airport, and for some reason things change and you're going to be dropping your student off. You can go back and change that to your on-site drop-off. You can also split those two things. So let's say that you're going to drop your student off on site, but then they're going to be traveling to the airport to get back home. You can choose both of those as well. Also, let's say that you know that your scholar is flying, but you haven't yet purchased your ticket. That's fine. You can leave that specific flight information blank and come back in to fill it in later once you've got all that ticketed information. But it's just important that we know how students are getting to our program and how they're headed back home. There's also the pre-program assignment, which is called the Feedback for Understanding Emerging Leaders. This is a self-assessment for our students to complete, as well as our opportunity for our students to ask teachers and mentors for feedback on their leadership in the classroom and in their community. We use this feedback during the program, and we primarily use that during our career night to help students start to identify different areas that they can continue to develop and continue to grow in. We also want to use this as a way for our students to get feedback from individuals who know them best and have seen them doing work in the community or doing work in the classroom. For students that are flying into the program, WorldTech is a travel agency that we work with who can assist in providing flight options to help you coordinate your trip. You're going to find a link to WorldTech there on the site. It's not required that you use WorldTech should you be flying into the program. It's just kind of there to help out. Underneath the category Preparing for Your Program, you're going to see Housing, Registration, and Travel Information. This document contains all the information about arrival day, travel windows, and housing accommodations. If you have enrolled in the City Adventure extension, you're going to find that information about that extension there as well. You also see what's called a roommate request application. So sometimes we have scholars from the same school that attend the National Security program and they want to be roomed together. If there's someone attending the conference that your scholar would like to room with, please fill out this form. There is a hard deadline for completing this form, so make sure that you're paying close attention to that deadline. Also note that this form is required on both sides. So if you are submitting a roommate request form for your scholar, the parent or guardian for the scholar that you would like for your scholar to room with also needs to complete that form so that we have consent from both sides. There's also press release guidelines and as well as our program leave request form. Both are optional, so there's no deadline on those. And then lastly, you're going to see a planning, travel, and dress code checklist. We're going to look at that on the next slide. And as you begin to complete these items on the enrollment forms and info page, green check marks will appear as you've completed those documents. So let's talk about dress code. Our dress code is listed on the student portal, and it's very, very detailed. National Security has an excellent reputation amongst the different individuals who are coming out to speak at our program. And as a result, we want to make sure that our students are presenting themselves in the best possible manner. So the dress code consists of 3 different types of attire. Career attire, which would be considered professional attire. If you are in JROTC, then that can also include that uniform as well. We have what we call program attire, which is best described as relaxed professional. So button-down shirt, polo shirt, things like that, dress pants or khaki pants. And there are going to be several different times that students will be asked to be in that program attire. And then we also have a casual attire. And casual attire is all the different examples are listed out on the program site. Excuse me. And there are a couple different times within the program that we will be in casual attire, primarily on day 5 of the program when we spend most of our day out and about. And we'll talk about what that day looks like whenever we talk about the program in particular. Sorry, I advanced the slide before I needed to. Other information that you're going to find in this document is how much spending money your scholar may need whenever they come to the program, what our electronic device usage policy is, and then what to bring within your luggage as well. All linens are provided for us through the University of Maryland, but if for some reason you'd like to bring your own, or if you would like to bring extra towels, please feel free. So now that we have gone through the online resources, let's take a look at the general information and health category. Here you're going to find 2 very important required forms. And these are a good place to start to let us know about any dietary restrictions that your scholar may have. If there's more detail that you need to add beyond filling out the form, contact our admissions department so that we can record any specific accommodations. National Security is a nut-free conference. There are vending machines and gift shops on site, and we ask that if scholars decide to purchase any and all snacks, that they are always nut-free, as well as if you decide to send any snacks with your scholar, we ask that you send nut-free snacks to the program. We do have students that are enrolled in each session of the program that do have airborne nut allergies, so we just want to make sure that we keep everyone safe and secure. All of our on-site meals are going to be served in a cafeteria located on the University of Maryland's campus. There's a lot of different food options within the cafeteria and a lot of different variety as far as meeting any dietary requirements or dietary restrictions. That being said, if you have something that is a severe allergy, please make sure that you're filling out that form. And what we'll do is we compile all that information and we send it over to University of Maryland so that they have that information as well. If for some reason throughout the program you just don't feel like meals are being offered that fit your dietary restriction, let one of our staff members know so that we can either A, contact the dietary department and make sure that it's taken care of, or B, make arrangements for other meals to be brought in. We do have off-site meals during the program. We actually have several off-site meals during the program. And during that time, students are free to choose from a wide variety of different restaurants that are at those locations. We will give each student what's called a briefing sheet, which will list not every restaurant that's in the location, but some of the more popular ones. And students should feel free to choose from restaurants that fit any type of dietary restriction that they may have. Again, if you have any concerns or any questions, reach out to our admissions department to clarify, and that information will be given at the end of the webinar. So next, we're going to transition into some important reminders, as well as reviewing the program schedule and highlights. So National Security is going to be hosted at the University of Maryland. And while this is the first year that the University of Maryland has hosted our program, Envision has been working with this university for several years. University of Maryland has dining halls that are able to accommodate a wide variety of meal requests, including vegetarian, vegan, and halal diets, as well as having the ability to accommodate a variety of restrictions such as gluten, dairy, eggs, shellfish, and nut allergies. All the dormitories are secure and safe, and students are issued a key and room access card for their dorm buildings and rooms as part of the registration process. So just to kind of give an overview of the program and kind of a day by day. So on day 1, arrival day starts at 1 and goes from 1 to 5. After we finish with our arrival day activities, students will go to their first group meeting. While they're at that group meeting, they're going to learn about their advisor, they're going to learn about their other students, and start to dig into some of the curriculum of the program. Day 2 is a really early day. Brace yourself. It's a very, very early day. Our buses will depart the program site at 6:45 a.m. so that we can attend a visit to the floor of the House of Representatives and hear from two former members of the House of Representatives speak. Students will go to the Capitol, we will go through security, and everybody will get a chance to sit on the floor of the House. After floor of the House, we will have one of our 3 site visits. The first site visit will be for our secured site visit students that are able to submit their ID information, and again, we'll talk about that here in just a bit. For our secured students, they will go to the U.S. Department of State, and for any students that don't have that that government-issued ID, we will those students will be attending a visit to one of the local embassies here in DC. Day 3 is all about our site visits. And students who submit their ID information will have a chance to tour the Pentagon and the Federal Bureau of Investigation building. And for students who don't have that secure ID, we've got a great visit for those students as well. And excuse me, those students will be visiting the U.S. Naval Academy here in DC. After our site visits, students will head back to the University of Maryland, where we'll hear from our keynote address, and then finish out the day with our career night, where students will have a chance to sit in career exploration panels and hear from individuals who are working currently in national security, get a chance to ask them any questions that they may have about how they got to that location, what classes they took in college, what they can do to prepare now. And then following up, we will have our what we call our career fair. We'll have a lot of different individuals from the career panels that will stay over to answer any other questions, as well as individuals from other organizations that will come out to talk to students about career paths, internships, college selection, things of that nature. Day 4 is an on-site day all day long, and we will start the morning with our cybersecurity panel, and we will spend the majority of our day participating in our national security and action simulation. During the simulation, students will take on the role of different individuals that work in various departments of the government and work through a national security emergency and figure out what their best plan of action is and what recommendations they're going to give to the President of the United States. Day 5 is a little bit more relaxed. And day 5 will start in the morning with our closing keynote. Our closing keynote is generally presented by someone from the Wounded Warrior Project. And we will finish out the day by, we'll finish out the afternoon by going to Arlington National Cemetery, where our students will have a chance to, during the beginning of the program, write an essay and try to be chosen as one of the wreath layers. Every year, Arlington National Cemetery works with the National Security Program to make sure that 4 of our students are able to take part in the wreath laying ceremony. After visiting Arlington National Cemetery, we will then go to the National Mall and spend the afternoon on the National Mall visiting the Smithsonian museums. Students will have the opportunity to explore a wide variety of museums in the afternoon there. We'll depart the National Mall and go to Old Town Alexandria for dinner that evening. And we'll finish up the night by doing a tour of our national monuments at night. So we'll visit the World War II Memorial, we'll visit the Vietnam Memorial, the Korean War Memorial, as well as the Lincoln Memorial. The next day, students will get up, they'll have their last group meeting, and we will have our closing ceremony before students start to depart at 10 o'clock. So as a reminder, the safety and security of our scholars on and off campus is our #1 priority. Our scholars are led through the program and cared for in small groups by trained advisors. These are staff members that have experience with students and have undergone extensive training and background checks. The majority of our staff members are educators outside of the summer months and work year-round to provide safe and high-quality experiences for all of our students. Our scholars and staff are required to wear a name badge at all times that they are outside of their sleeping room, and staff conduct attendance at every group meeting, anytime they depart a location on the bus, as well as anytime they arrive at a location on the bus. The name badge that scholars are issued and staff are issued at the beginning of the program will have emergency contact information printed on the back. At the end of every evening, staff will conduct a room check to ensure that all the students are in their rooms for the night, as well as distribute any important information for the next day's events. Once room check is completed, we ask that scholars do not leave their rooms, and if for some reason they do need to leave their room, they can contact that overnight on-call individuals that will be able to assist the scholar in anything that they need. As I said, attendance is taken several times throughout the day, meals, during small groups, before, during, and after any offsite trips, as well as before bed. If there is a student that is missing during any of those attendance checks, we have an emergency protocol that begins immediately to locate that child and return them to their group. All scholars are monitored throughout the day by their assigned advisor. Outside of that advisor staff, we have a large support staff that interacts with the students throughout the day, as well as to ensure that the programs are well equipped and provide the best experience possible. As I said, on the back of their name badge, all scholars are given emergency contact phone numbers, as well as the overnight emergency program number to call should they need assistance. In the unlikely event that an incident does occur, our staff are ready to take action. We will contact you, the parent, if an incident occurs, either behavioral or medical, with your child, and any and all incidents are recorded and reported to the program office, and you are involved and informed at every step. Our phones are managed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week throughout the program, and every single incident excuse me, is documented, and follow-up occurs in coordination with our on-site staff. All right, so what's next? First and foremost, book your travel to and from the session location and make sure that you are completing all of those required forms and information. Make sure to complete any and all pre-program assignments. That includes the fuel forms. And then finally, be ready to embark on the adventure of a lifetime this summer. National Security is an amazing program. It offers our students the opportunity to speak with and go to locations that most students don't get an opportunity to do. And taking part in this and making the most of it is what makes this experience amazing for all of our students. Our staff works incredibly hard behind the scenes to make sure that everything is planned and well executed. And we also make sure that we are communicating as much as possible with any parents or guardians about the students' time with our program. We're gonna, the next slide is gonna have some contact information. If you have any questions about enrollment, if you have any questions that I don't get a chance to answer here in the next few minutes for our question and answer section, please reach out to our admissions department. And those numbers are there on your screen. If for some reason the admissions department is not able to answer your question, they will send that question to myself or to Jessica, and we will reach out to get that question answered. So now we're going to turn to the questions that I see are filling up the question box, and we're going to try and get through as many of those as we possibly can. This webinar will be recorded, so it takes us a few days to get those posted to the student portal, but this webinar is recorded, so you can go back and see anything that you may have missed. So see, we've got some questions that are answered. What if we are unable to sign the medical authorization form online? Should we just print it out and bring it with us? Most definitely. Most definitely. If you're not able to sign the medical authorization form online, print it out, sign it, bring it with you on arrival day, and we'll make sure that we have it. The required list dates, the travel arrangements are due by May 19th. Does that include travel arrangements being booked? Yeah, we'd like to have that information sooner rather than later. If for some reason you don't have the exact flight booked, that's okay. You can come back and fill that out, but at least tell us how the student is getting there, if you're gonna be dropping them off or you're gonna be flying. If we are taking 2 flights, both to and from the program, which flight number should we put on the travel information form? The flight number that is landing in DC and departing from DC. We receive roommate information prior to arrival. No, I'm sorry. We will not have roommate information prior to arrival. You'll find that out whenever you get on site. I have a valid Department of Defense ID and can't find anything for my ID for the Pentagon portion. That's okay. Reach out to our admissions department and they will send that over to me and I will get in contact with you to get that information written down. We understand that DoD IDs are not listed there, but we'll get that information down and get it submitted. I read suit and tie. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Suit and tie is one of the options for career attire. Does a learner's permit work for the official ID for the site visits? Yes, it does. As long as it is a government issued photo ID that has an ID number and an expiration date, that works just fine. Government issued ID includes state ID. Is there a limited amount of money to bring? Oh, no, we already got that one answered. Sorry, every time a question pops up, it resets my question list. So we asked the learner's permit question. Wow, we're getting a lot of questions answered here. What's the average number of students that attend this program? It's a really good question that varies by session. Somewhere between 250 and 300 students per session. What are the requirements for the government ID to visit the FBI building and others? The requirements are that it is a government issued ID, whether that's US government or state government issued ID, that has a ID number as well as an expiration date as well as a photo. One thing to note on the ID information, we need to have that information 30 days prior to the start of the program because we have to submit all of that information to our secured site visit locations. Once that 30 days passes, there is absolutely nothing that the program team or anybody in Division can do in order to get your student into that secured site visit. The Pentagon, the FBI, and the State Department all require 30 days before the start of the program in order to submit that information. Now, if you aren't going to be able to get that information in, that's fine. It's okay. That doesn't mean that you're not going to have an amazing experience. That doesn't mean that you're not going to get to go on site visits. We do have non-secured site visits that are just as exciting and provide just as much content for the program as our secured site visits do. So make sure that you're hitting that 30 days, and if for some reason you don't think you're going to be able to hit that 30 days, please let us know, and also note that we will have those non-secured site visits. Let's see, we answered the students. What attire should be worn on the first and last day? Relaxed professional attire on day 1 and relaxed professional attire on day 6. How many students assigned per room? So let's talk a little bit about the rooms. So University of Maryland has suite style dorm rooms, meaning there is a room with 2 beds on one side, a room with 2 beds on another side, and a bathroom, a shared bathroom in between. So we'll have 2 students on one side, 2 students on another, and they'll share that in between bathroom. We need to write an essay on the first day. If so, do we need to prepare for that essay? You don't necessarily need to write it on the first day. Your program staff will inform you of when that deadline is. But there's really not anything that you need to prepare. We ask that students who wish to take part in the wreath-laying ceremony write an essay kind of explaining why they feel that they should take part in that wreath-laying ceremony. And then our staff will get together, they'll read through all the essays, and they'll decide on the top 4, and those 4 will be announced the day before we go to Arlington. Is there a schedule that includes what we wear to each event? Yep, and you will receive, so there will be, the finalized program schedule will be online about 72 hours before the program starts. And the reason we wait until 72 hours is just to make sure that we have every site visit, every event locked down, including any and all speakers confirmed. We don't want to put anything out there that for some reason, one speaker cancels, we have to get somebody else in, and we've got to change things around. So you'll receive a schedule. The schedule will be online 72 hours beforehand, and it will list what the dress code is for each event. This webinar is recorded and it will be on the student portal a few days after this. It takes us a little while to get it downloaded and uploaded onto the student portal. Is this experience going to help us for college? I think so. I think so. You know, this experience is all about what you make of it and about what you're looking to get out of it. You know, we try to build the national security program in a way that allows students to not only look at what they want their college experience to be, but kind of what they want their after college experience to be. What would they, you know, what types of roles would they like to go into? You know, this program may help someone decide, you know what, I really thought I wanted to go into national security, but now I don't think that I do. And that's just as valuable as someone who comes in and decides that national security or a role in national security is exactly what they want. This is a program is designed to help students start to narrow down their options and start to really hone in on what that college and career path will be. The arrival airport is BWI, that is in Baltimore, and again, all that information is on the student portal. How do we contact if there is a plane delay or something like that happens? Just contact the admissions department and they'll get all that information taken down, or else they'll transfer you to the program office and we'll make sure that we've got everything recorded and taken care of. Will students have any free time? Yeah, there is time built into the schedule, especially whenever we have meals off site. So on day 2, whenever we go to DuPont Circle to have our first off-site meal, students will have some free time then. The majority of day 5 would be considered free time whenever we are at the when we're at the Smithsonian's and whenever we're doing our monument walk. There's not a lot of free time that's built into our curricular days though, and that's just because we have a whole lot of stuff that is crammed into not a really long period of time. So there's not a lot of like on-campus free time, but there's a little more off-site free time. First time flyer webinar that will be recorded as well, and that will be found online. Essay information, that's all done on site. So once you get on site, they'll talk more about the essay. Whenever our education lead delivers our welcome to program speech, she'll talk about that essay. So what are in our dorm rooms that you're going to be staying in? So let's set expectations. It's not a hotel, so you shouldn't expect the same type of amenities that are in a hotel. There aren't TVs. There aren't irons and things of that nature. It is a college dorm. There is guest Wi-Fi at the dorm that you'll be able to utilize, but the dorm rooms are a bed, a desk, a bed for each student that's in the dorm room, a desk for each student in the dorm room, and a small dresser closet piece that is in the room for each dorm room. Again, the housing site does supply linens, but if you'd like to bring any extra towels, please feel free to bring those with you. Oh, my question box just reset, so let's scroll back down. We get directions sent to us if we are driving in. Yes, so whenever you look online on the information, it will have the exact address to the dorm room. Since we have moved to the University of Maryland, we ask that students do not drive themselves to the program, as there is no parking provided on site by the University of Maryland. You would have to purchase any parking passes from the University of Maryland, and those can get quite expensive. It's also good to note that University of Maryland campus security is very, very diligent in parking infractions, and they are not shy about ticketing, and those tickets are pretty expensive. So we ask that students don't plan on driving themselves in. I'm getting a real ID, but it will not arrive by the time I need it to be turned in. Can I turn in the receipt through the portal? I will have it by this summer though. If that receipt has the issuing authority, ID number, expiration date, name, and date of birth of the individual getting the ID, you can submit that through the portal. Now, I will say if for some reason you do not have that photo ID on you when you arrive on site and we go to that site visit, it is very, very possible that that site will not allow you to enter. If that occurs, again, there's not a lot that we can do about it because I don't have the power to tell the Pentagon to let you in. So understand that you can do that, but there is a risk if you do not have the ID by the time we go to the site visit that they may not let you in. Yes, so I see a lot of questions about, do we have to bring our IDs with us? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Students' cell phones. Where can we get the numbers for the people watching the kids in case of an emergency where we live? Will their cell phones be allowed? Students can have their cell phones. We just ask that they don't use them during program time unless, directed to by their advisor to do research or something like that. All of the phone numbers for the leads as well as our program office will be published closer to the date that the program begins, and we'll have all that information on our. We'll have a list of what we call friends and family information that we will distribute both on site as well as online that has those contact numbers. But the admission numbers that you see at the bottom of the screen, those are active all the time. So if you have anything that comes up and you can't find the phone number for our on-site staff, you can contact those admission numbers and they can get you to the on-site staff. What happens if we are missing one document? It depends on what the document is. Yep, all of this presentation is being recorded and it will be uploaded to the student portal a couple days after, in a few days. Will we receive confirmation that you are cleared for the secure site visit? You will not receive confirmation once you have inputted that information. Basically, what I'm going to be doing for the next, for the rest of the summer, pretty much, is I'm going to be checking that online information daily and be checking to make sure that any and all information that needs to be inputted for our secure site visits has been put into our system. If for some reason you are missing something, I'm going to see that, either myself or Jessica, we will see that, and we're going to be sending out emails as well as calls from our admission department throughout the week to remind folks to get that turned in. Students most definitely can take notes. Should I bring a laptop? If you want to, that's fine. It's not required, but should you want to, that's fine. Are we allowed to bring gaming devices, PlayStation or Xbox? No. You're not going to have, one, you're not going to have time for it, and two, there aren't TVs in the room and you're not going to have access to a TV to hook it up to. And even if we did have access to a TV to hook it up to, I can't guarantee you that it will have all the proper hookups that you would need, and the internet's not great. So I wouldn't bring it. Is an essay mandatory? It's not mandatory. You only write an essay if you want to fill out, if you want to be part of the wreath laying ceremony. How many shower stalls in each bathroom? I believe there are 3 shower stalls in each bathroom. Class A attire is perfectly fine. Yeah, there are going to be days when we're not in professional. There are going to be days when we are in relaxed professional. And again, once we get that program schedule finalized, that'll be up and you'll be able to see it. But if you follow the packing guidelines that are online, you're going to be fine. Roommate assignments are traditional gender specific? Yes, that is correct. If you have any further questions about gender roommate assignments, reach out to the admissions department. They can get you in contact with me and we can talk about it. If I were unlucky enough to lose the form of identification I said I would bring on the form, i.e. my driver's license, if I brought another form of government issued ID to the site visit, would it cause an issue getting in? It might. I would recommend that you go back online to the student portal and fill out the ID information that you are going to be bringing and not the one that you lost. It depends on who's working the security gates at the time, but we ask that students bring the exact same government issued ID that they inputted into the portal. What's the deadline for the essay for the college credit? The deadline for that essay is, and I may be incorrect about this, so please contact the admissions department to make sure that I'm right, but I believe the deadline is 30 days after program ends. What if I don't have a permit but just a school ID? Sadly, a school ID will not work. It needs to be a government issued ID, either state government issued or US government issued, such as a learning permit, driver's license, state ID card, or valid passport. What if we don't like the roommate we'll be rooming with? Talk to the staff. Repeat attire for first and last day, relaxed professional or program attire. We are commuting on a daily basis. Where should the student report in the morning? Typically at what time do they come back to the dorms in order to coordinate a pickup time? It's a good question. You'll report to the dorm location. That address is online. And once you enroll, once you come to arrival day and get the student through the arrival day process, reach out to some staff members, primarily our program lead, and he'll be able to walk you through what that process is going to look like and coordinate with you great pickup times. Generally, our program day ends somewhere between 10 and 11 p.m. And our program day begins at varying times. So like I said, day 2 is a very early morning, day 3 is a pretty early morning, and then the morning's kind of, I mean, they're still early, but they're not as early. So coordinate with the program staff as to what is the best time to report and what is the best time to pick up. But the dorm is the best place to go. Do we need to bring cash money? It's a good idea. You're going to have a lot of different opportunities to have meals off-site, as well as you know, purchase any souvenirs, things of that nature. You write the essay during the week of the program. What additional work is needed? Oh, we got that question answered. The specific location on campus is Oakland Hall. Are we going to be able to have one-on-one conversations with FBI agents? Yeah, I mean, there's going to be ample opportunity for you to have conversations. Can't guarantee they're going to be one-on-one, but there's going to be a few different opportunities to ask questions and to interact with different bureau agents. Whenever we actually visit the FBI, there will be both former and agents in training that will be at the location that are kind of walking us through the site that will be able to answer some questions, as well as we'll have representatives from the FBI on site for a couple of our speaking events. Airport meeting location, that's all on the portal. It talks about what times, it talks about airport meeting location, all that kind of stuff. Will we have free time to leave the university, for example, to go running? Won't have free time to leave campus. Students, we ask that students don't leave campus unless they are accompanied by a family member and go through the temporary checkout process. If for some reason, you know, if you would like to go running, we ask that you run before the first program event in the morning, so before breakfast. And there is a process that we go through on that. We ask that you call one of our program leads to let them know that you are going to run. And we ask that you call our program lead to let them know when you have returned. We also ask that you keep your Envision name badge on while you are running so that you have all that contact information. Oakland Hall is our dorm on campus. Yes, your Class A Scout uniform would meet classify as career attire. Yep, all students who complete the program will receive a certificate of completion at the end. Having a laptop is helpful, but it's in no way required. And I'm just kind of scrolling through, finding some questions that I have not answered yet. Can we bring portable gaming devices such as a Nintendo Switch or something of the nature on the trip? You can bring it with you. That's perfectly fine. We just ask that it's not something that, I don't want your Nintendo Switch to be the primary attention grabber while you're at the program. So we ask that you leave that, either in your room or locked up in the program office during program events, and then you're more than welcome to use it afterwards. I wouldn't necessarily bring it on the bus with you. You never know. Things happen. Maybe we have a bus that breaks down after we get dropped off, and a new bus is coming to pick us up, and now all of a sudden you've left your Nintendo Switch in the old bus, and we got to try and track it down. And sometimes things don't get tracked down that way. So I mean, you can bring it with you, but you are responsible for that device. So make sure that you are acting accordingly. What if we can't get a document finished in time? That's dependent on the document. So if you can't get your government issued ID entered in time prior to the 30 days before arrival day, then we will make sure that you have non-secured site visits to attend, and that would be an embassy here in DC as well as the U.S. Naval Academy. If for some reason you can't get your medical authorization form filled out in time, that's fine. You can print that out and bring it with you to the program. And we ask that you have any and all finalized travel information, and that's like flight numbers and things of that nature, online at least a week before the program starts. Now, we do ask that you have how you're getting to the program filled out by May 19th. I'm attending the July 14th session. Can I submit my government ID information for the secured site visit now, or do I have to wait till June? Submit that thing right now. Right now. Earlier you get it in, the less you need to be worried about. Follow the, so I don't have to buy a suit. Follow the dress code guidelines that are online. That'll list everything and anything that you need to bring. And that will be under the program information and packing info section. You'll turn the essay in on while you're here at the program. You have a military ID, would that work? Call our admissions department, because military IDs are a little bit different in that they don't have some of the standard information that is required on our student portal, but they will work. So contact our admissions department. They're going to get you in contact with myself, and I'll reach out to you either via email or via phone, and we'll get that all taken care of. Yes, it does have to be a U.S. issued ID. So that's an American passport or an ID issued from one of the 50 states. If it is a passport issued by a foreign government or an ID issued by a foreign government, that is not something that our secured site visits will accept. Will these questions and answers also be posted along with a presentation and recording? Yeah, you'll be able to hear my voice. You'll be able to hear my voice answer those questions. And if I don't get to something, or if I don't answer your question exactly, just reach out to the enrollment number, and they'll get you taken care of, or else they'll get you in contact with me. All ID information is in the site visit ID section of the mandatory forms segment. Some meals are provided on your own. So let's go through it day by day. Day 2, lunch, it will be on your own. We'll be at DuPont Circle. Day 3, lunch will be on your own, and it will be at Pentagon City Mall. Day 5, lunch and dinner will be on your own, and lunch will be on the National Mall, and dinner will be at Old Town Alexandria. There is not an accessible gym on campus. University of Maryland does not allow our students to utilize that gym. Yeah, if you have a military ID, I'm seeing a lot of questions about military IDs. If you have a military ID, reach out to the admissions department. They're going to get you in touch with me, and I'll get that information and make sure that it's submitted. Is it mandatory for JRTC members to bring uniforms? It is not mandatory. It is not mandatory, but you can wear them. Now, one thing that I've heard year over year with national security is, hey, I'd love to wear this name badge, but I can't wear anything else over my uniform. And while I appreciate that, we do require that you wear the name badge. And if need be, I can call, whoever's in charge and clear that through them while you're on the phone. But we do require that name badges are worn, even if you're wearing uniform. Should I bring cash or card? How much money should I bring? You can bring either cash or card. I recommend about $20 a day. DC is a little bit more expensive food-wise, so I'd say, thinking about the offsite meals that we've had, any souvenirs or things that you would like to pick up, I'd say about $20 for any offsite day. Are we going to spend a lot of time on the bus? Not a ton of time. Not a ton of time, but yeah, anytime we're traveling. It is not a regular school bus, it is a coach bus. Let's see. Dress code for first and last day is program attire, so relaxed professional. Is there a secure place to store personal electronics devices since we can't take them with us during the day trips? You can either leave those in your room, or if you would like, you can secure those in the office, and there will always be somebody in the office. Are students able to carry a small backpack to locations? Certain locations, yes. Certain locations, no. So for the floor of the house visit, no items the floor of the house does not allow any items to be brought in. That includes cell phones, as well as for state, Pentagon, and FBI. They do not allow cell phones and bags to be brought in. For any non-US issued ID, contact the admissions department and they'll get you in contact with me and we'll talk through that. Is a Camelback acceptable to bring? Yeah, but just know that you won't be able to bring that into some of the sites because they don't allow liquids. Are students turning in their ID once they arrive? If not, what happens if they lose it once they're there? Students will not be turning in their ID to program staff once they arrive. Students will be responsible for keeping their ID with them and bringing it with them to our site visit locations. If they lose it once they're there, again, the students are responsible for that ID. I cannot guarantee if the student does not have the ID with them that they will be able to get it into our secured site visits. All right, so we're reaching the end here, and I'm gonna just kind of scrolling through, look at any last minute questions that I can answer. Again, if I don't answer your question, reach out to the admissions department. We'll be able to answer it from there. Simplified list for like gates and things like that for the airport meetup, that's all online in the student portal. You'll be able to find that there. Coming soon resources are being made available within the next week or so. Yes, you get your name badge on arrival. Yep, you put in all your ID info on the Envision Experience website. Sadly, we will not be seeing President Trump while we are here in DC. Yes, you are most definitely allowed to bring any allergy or prescription medications with you. For sites that don't allow cell phones, we will have staff that will be stationed outside that site that will collect the cell phones from the individuals on that bus and will return those cell phones once they leave the site. All right, well, again, thank you very much for attending the webinar. Hopefully I got to your question. If not, please reach out to our admissions department, and if our admissions department can't answer your question for you, they'll put you in contact with either myself or Jessica, and we'll get that question for you, answered for you ASAP. Please make note of the online ID requirements. I cannot stress that enough. If you don't have that ID information in 30 days prior to your student's arrival, there's not a lot I can do in order to get your student into that secure site visit. Not saying that your student won't be able to go on a site visit, but you will not be able to get into Pentagon, FBI, and state if you don't have that information in 30 days prior. If you have any questions about that, reach out. Let's get that information as clear as possible so that everybody knows what to expect whenever they get there. Have a great evening, and we look forward to seeing you this summer.